Hello, everybody. This is Debo of Debo's Film Reviews, and I'm going to review Long Kissed Goodnight, directed by Rennie Harlan, written by Shane Black, starring Gina Davis and Samuel Jackson, with side performances by Patrick Malahide as Mr. Perkins, or should I say Agent Perkins, not to confuse people that watch this film with her daughter with Samantha Kane, aka Charlie Baltimore's daughter's Bear, which of course makes sense of how she got the name cut when she in the beginning where she's all amnesiac and just remembering stuff. Keeps us, which of course was excellent character development for the agent betrayed by the government she's working for. Trope. And like I say, when it comes to that trope, this film makes all those boring movies look like Mr. Rogers. I mean, I mean, you gotta say, well, Charlie Baltimore's a badass from that scene where she's captured in that rail when she's yanks a pistol from their dead handler's waist, and then kills that leader of that group, or does that from that compound anyway, when she's trying to get that survivalist dude. And when of course with 8 years passed between last mission and her amnesia and all, and her getting her memory back, so you learn how she learns the government's working with the same people that 8 years ago she was told to kill and all. Sounds like, which of course for any spy film always makes a good plot. And of course you can almost say this movie kind of predicted a real attack too, of like the line at the end where she's captured and confronted by her former handler. I mean the evil handler, not the Perkins guy, not Walden, who was played by Brian Cox, who was the one good guy on her team, and alongside Samuel Jackson's Hennessy, when he thinks he's just opened up a not to say with Hennessy's opened up on an investigation, when she's just helping this woman find out who she is, and then of course unlocks the international conspiracy. I say back to how predicted films that predicted a certain event. This is pretty much one of our prime examples when he's telling them, oh, governments, how he's using the government to plot attack, and then of course blame it on the whole blame it on the Muslims line, where you can almost say this film predicted 9/11. And there's also like a one instance where there's like one of the license plates in one of the primary car scenes. I can't remember which one. It was like the Bronco from the escape compound, or Walden's car, which was Cox's character. Had RFK, which of course was he was Sirhan was mentioned under MK Ultra program and all, and of course, which of course was a huge plot of just the amnesiac super spy trope. Although in Baltimore's case, she was shot in a mission, just washed up on shore, 2 months pregnant, and that was all she wrote. Till like at the beginning of the movie, when she's at that doing a parade, gets on the news, and then to get that locked up agent who surprisingly looked like a bootleg John Malkovich. And then of course he escapes, and then tries to go to her, somehow finds her house and all, and then of course Baltimore old Charlie whoops his ass, and then Hennessy shows up, and then they go on the old trail from, of course, meeting various assorted characters like Brian Cox's Walden to to that look guy played by David Morrison. I can say that's the youngest I've ever seen that actor look, because I've seen him in other stuff, and I was one of them like Morgan Freeman and such who was you could almost swear was born old. And of course, with you got your chases and action and all, and how Charlie Baltimore realizes her potential when she's assembling that rifle and then that accidental discharge, and then of course they got the hotel shootout, and she's her sixth senses kick in, and then she uses Hennessy's gun, and then of course they have a shootout in the hotel, and then a free story jump. Then they go to Luke's character place, and then Walden gets killed, and then Hennessy and Baltimore get captured, and then of course she escapes and whoops everybody's asses, and then taunts Agent Perkins with that mission accomplished, and then of course they got to meet another wave of hit squads and all, and then of course she got between a whole character development where she's no longer but just tells Samantha King goodbye, and then becomes Charlie Baltimore, and then of course realizes that one grass is greener in the quiet June Cleaver life instead of the badass agent life, which makes sense for in that trope when it comes to amnesiac super spy and all. Of course, usually because that usually meant you got a burn nose or something, and of course that's what she was, a burnt spy. And of course with excellent villains, and it had that other guy who turned out to be her kid's real father, and being one of the main villains, and a lot of badass uses of 18-wheelers in that, and then a whole escape with a with a Princess Pea Pants doll in the matches. So like, did not know those things were they used gasoline to simulate fake pee and all. And of course, when they escape, and so I'm like, kind of like a bit like a agent in training and all. And then the old funny scene where she's taunting, reacquaints herself with that former student, and she says, "What did I say about smoking?" And then she takes the hit, and the old fat kid discovered, shocked that she's now blonde, went from, instead of a brunette, like she was in the beginning, of course, and then she's like, she made that little live action Cartman pee himself, and of course with Samuel Jackson being all badass he is, and when it comes to Samuel Jackson, when it comes to use of the word motherfucker, I'm surprised all these the DVD or want a DVD feature on any Samuel DVD featuring Samuel Jackson that didn't show the Count for Sesame Street going like, one motherfucker, two motherfucker, three motherfucker. Oh Jesus Christ, this guy's got the putty mouth. And of course, you got to give an excellent side portrayal to G.D. Spradlin as pronounced right as the president. I can say that guy always played a good politician, from like the sheriff in that movie Tank, which is James Garner, and that's for another review, along with Senator Geary in Godfather 2, also another review. But overall, when it comes to the 90s, Randy Harlan was one of the greats when it comes to action movies. He's about up there with John Woo and Walter Hill when it comes to action movie directors. And of course with excellent portrayal of Gina Davis and I say is my personal favorite role. Oh, second. Oh, Beetlejuice is a close second, and how she, I mean, she showed some range in that film because cause like critics began when they were like, oh look, Lord, it was just another director trying to cash in on an attractive wife and all. No, she showed them, and then given how Davis and Harlan were married at the time, and then she showed them that she's much more than just a director's wife. And like I say, she showed some badassery to the points that if they ever make a female Expendables, she's in by default. And I wish they would, because I want to review that. Or let alone if I was in the business, I'd direct it if they'd let me. Overall, Long Kiss Goodnight is a 5 out of 5 masterpiece. Great for 90s nostalgia, Christmas, and a holiday classic. I mean, it is a holiday movie after all, because you got, like for example, it starts off as Christmas parade, and the whole, she's got a, Charlie, she uncovers her real identity, cuts all loose ends, and then saves the day all by Christmas. Surprise! Out of all the songs, "I'll Be Home for Christmas" was not in the soundtrack. Although, of course, with Shane Black, it's always a writer's trademark of using Christmas songs and Christmas stuff. Because, like with Lethal Weapon 1, Die Hard 2, Die Hard 1, although that was not black, those Die Hard movies were not black, unlike Iron Man 3 and this here Long Kiss Goodnight. Man, talk about an excellent film. And a 5 out of 5 masterpiece. And a must watch for anybody. Alright? Give me a like, subscribe, and enjoy, people.